sports.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All righty, it is time to talk a little Canes and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report. The great Manny Navarro, he is in COVID, what is
quarantine.
it? Quarantine.
Yeah.
But you don't have COVID, right? That's the deal,
I've
right?
tested negative. Yeah. Tested negative.
All right. That's good. There you go. So he is testing negative. So if you see him, don't treat him like he's got the cooties and all that kind of stuff. All right. He is fine. He's all right. He's all good. So I have yet to, that hasn't happened to me yet. Okay. Thank the Lord. I haven't even caught the stuff. Right. But I haven't even been like associated with somebody that had COVID and then I had to go into quarantine, which is all kinds. Now, it does help to stay at home a hell of a lot. You know what I'm saying? And watch everything on television and all that. I mean, the other day, dude, when I went to the Green Day concert, I was double masked and I was paranoid as hell. And I was trying to stay away from human beings as much as possible. So it's man, it's just it F's with your mind, dude.
Well, I don't mind sharing the story now of what happened, but basically what happened was my kids started school last week, and unfortunately this happens all the time. Oh, you have kids. You know, parents send their kids sick to school, and so this kid had a runny nose, a cough, and first day of school last Wednesday here in Broward County. You know, he goes 2 days in a row, and the teacher's like, hey, you know, why do I have this sick kid in my class? She sends him to the doctor's office there in the school, the nurse, and they send the kid home. Later that night, the school gets a phone call. Oh, by the way, he tested positive for COVID-19, first grade kid. And so the entire class was exposed to him for 48 hours or however long they were in class over those 2 days. And so Friday we get a phone call. Hey, come pick your kids up. They've all been exposed. Wow. And so, yeah. My youngest.
Did your kids test positive?
My youngest did. The one that was in the class. She tested positive.
Now, just out of curiosity, was she close to him, sitting close?
We have no idea. They won't give us any information.
She won't tell you? Your daughter
Well, she has no idea who it was. You know, she's 6. So, you know.
Because of the whole HIPAA thing, they don't even tell you what kid it is.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. She could do the math. She can tell. Oh, no, because you're all gone. That's right. You didn't.
And she just met these kids
the next day, and then somebody's missing. Oh, okay, that's right.
You get it? Right. And she was just in that class, so it's not like she familiarized herself with everybody. It was the first week of school last week. So, right. And she's 6, so it's different. If she was 10, 12, 14, she'd know. But
Right. Yeah. Oh, man, that's the world we live in, dude. And I'm almost terrified that, and I know that they're trying to avoid this because obviously it's been something negative on kids having to be at home to do all this stuff. But I almost fear that if this thing continues to escalate, they're going to send kids home and everybody's going to have to do the virtual thing all over again, which is tough on everybody.
Here's the big thing, and how we tie it back into sports. You know, you mentioned going to the concert and, you know, standing away from everybody, right?
Yeah.
These stadiums are going to be full again.
I know.
And how many people who are sick going to make the decision, you know what? I don't feel too good today. I'm going to stay home. I might have COVID. Or did they spend $200 on tickets and whatever else, and they're going to go. So
a little whiskey, and I'll feel better, and I'm going.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. No, yeah. Well, at least you're in the press box.
Correct.
That's the good thing.
Well, and we
All
have to
right.
go through all kinds of protocols too. We got to fill out, hey, were you exposed to anybody? We get our fever, our temperature
Right.
check, see if we have a fever.
Right.
So we go through the whole gauntlet anyway. But the general public,
Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah. And you see what the NFL's doing. You want to cover the NFL? You better be vaccinated. Or if not, you can't cover the NFL.
Yep.
I have a friend of mine he's really an anti-vaxxer. He's one of my better friends. And he's in the business. And the only reason he ended up getting the vaccine was because the NFL told him, you want to work, dude? Then you better get the vaccine, or you're not coming into any of our properties. I don't know if any of you know this. I don't even know if it's public. Is that public that the NFL is requiring anybody associated or covering or what? I know I had to show my vaccination card the other day when I went to camp. I had to take a picture of it and send it to them to prove that I was vaccinated.
Right. No, I mean, I don't know if it's public. I don't know if everybody cares. They're just like, oh, the reporters, who cares about them? But it's the reality.
Yeah. No, but it's not just reporters. It's anybody associated. If you're working an NFL game,
right,
you must be. I don't care if you're the ball boy. I don't care if you're taking out the trash, whatever. If you're associated with the NFL and working with the NFL, they will not allow you on their properties without being vaccinated. So
it's a good rule. I think
they're not doing that with you guys, right? Not yet.
Not with college football. We haven't come across that yet. But I know that there are schools, as far as home games, that are requiring, to show negative test before you're allowed in the stadium. So, but that's not a universal thing across the country.
Sorry, NFL, if I let the cat out of the bag. Anyway, all right, let's get to the other ugly stuff going on, and I find this pretty sick and twisted. And this is the Avante Williams situation, which I don't believe a goddamn thing in that story. I think that woman is defending him because whatever, she's looking for a free ride from him. Eventually, she's got his kid. And then, the fact that Manny says they're looking it over. I get it, dude. His seat ain't hot because they're not going to fire him, but he's got to be feeling uncomfortable a little bit because he's got to know that he's underachieved the last 2 years and he's desperate to achieve and have success and convince everybody that he's the guy. Are they really considering keeping this kid because they're so desperate to win? I just find it to be such a bad look to bring this guy back, and especially the way the story is and the way this girl has come out to now practically lie about her injuries. I get it. I know I'm not supposed to say she's lying and all that good stuff, but come on, dude. I'm not here to BS people. And if we have some common sense, we know what the hell went on here. So how is the University of Miami going to handle this? And how could they actually even believe any of this story?
Yeah, listen, when this first happened, I basically was told there was no way he was coming back. And so that was not through Manny Diaz per se, but certainly people on his staff, players, they didn't think he'd ever get a second chance at Miami. So, I know in the end, Manny has sort of said, hey, this is a school decision. It's not his per se, but, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know. I think the fact that they haven't said no is a big deal. Had Manny come out from the very beginning and said, there's no way we're taking him back, that would be one thing. But they're obviously entertaining it. And I think if his lawyer does a good enough job convincing whoever he needs to convince at Miami that this didn't happen, then they might actually take him back. But my guess is
first of all, when it's a lawyer talking to you, it's
right.
over already. I mean, give me a
right.
break. And
right.
there ain't a bit of truth coming out of a lawyer's mouth. Come on.
Oh, of course. But again, you never know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I wish I had an answer. But I don't know who's really weighing the decision. I don't know if this is Blake James. I don't know if this is the board of trustees. I know that in the past, issues like Willie Williams back in the day, when
Oh
he got
God.
arrested and the whole situation there. They did have everybody weigh in
You
on
know
it.
how long, you know how many months of my life I lost on the radio talking about that kid over and over and over and every day, and Willie Williams and
Yeah.
Willie
Yep.
Williams and Willie. And you know what? I was one of those guys that I didn't mind giving him the chance early on, but then you got burned. You know what I mean? When it's all said and
Yeah.
done. And let me tell you something, the gall of that kid on that video to say, well, you know, hopefully the University of Miami will do the right thing and reinstate me. I'm like, que fresco el tipo este, brother.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You know, it's like, what are you crazy? What do you mean the right thing? The right thing would have been for you not to abuse a woman. That would have been the right thing. And you wouldn't be in this trouble. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, dude.
I
I
mean,
saw that and it's like, come on, man. You
oh,
know,
look, domestic violence issues are messy. We've seen it in the NFL. We've seen guys' careers end right the moment they were caught on video doing anything. In this case, Avante Williams wasn't caught on video, and there were no eyewitnesses, so we don't know for sure, if this wasn't just a good old-fashioned fight between two people, or if he physically assaulted her and completely dominated her, or what the situation was. But we know this: the state attorney's office didn't proceed, and now the Miami Hurricanes have a messed up situation to deal with.
yeah. So do you bring him back and then use the technicality as the excuse? That's the thing.
Well,
And it's such a bad look
right.
overall. I think for me, man, I get it. You're desperate to win, but if you're the upper echelon of the University of Miami, I'm not the coaching staff, you got to say, okay, what kind of message does this send? Because most people with common sense are not believing Avante Williams one damn bit and the whole situation. They're just not going to believe him. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's the problem there, that the perception is going to overtake as the reality. And so then this is what you're going to carry from here on out. That's a bad message, man. That's just me.
Well, I think, here's the deal. He could go somewhere else, become a star, which he probably will, get drafted in the first or second round. And what'll happen is only the
Right,
people down here who know the Hurricanes will know the story. So
right.
he can go to Oregon, he can go to Cal, he can go wherever. And nobody's going to know the story after the first week. They're going to forget when he's out there, blowing guys up in the secondary and picking off passes, and it's going to be over.
Right. No, you're 1,000% right. Yeah. I can't argue with that one. All right. Scrimmage dirt, bro. Come on. Give me some scrimmage dirt. Manny came out and talked about it and all that, but we can't believe the coach. They're not going to tell us the real
Right.
the real bad stuff that may have happened, the stuff that he's unhappy with. He'll tell you a couple of obvious things. What are you hearing now that you've had several days to unearth some info?
Well, first of all, De'Aaron King played 4 series. And so they basically put the backups in, and those are the guys who ran the first team after that. So we're told that the defense played a lot better. I tend to think that's because De'Aaron King was on the sideline, right?
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two, Nessa Severo was back, which is a good sign because they need him. Okay. He's their best defensive lineman. And you could tell there was a difference. They were getting more pressure on the quarterback, is what I was told. They got 4 sacks in the scrimmage. Obviously, it helps not having to chase De'Aaron King, and it's a little easier to bring down Tyler Van Dyke and Jake Garcia. But that said, they did get more pressure on the quarterback, and from what I understand, they did a better job against the run. But listen, man, the Miami offensive line, I know everybody's like, oh, this second most returning starts in the country. I'd still take Alabama's offensive line over Miami's offensive line every day of the week and Sundays. So I think, this challenge, the first one, we'll see how much better they've really gotten at defending the run. Manny Diaz swears that they have. His coaches swear that they have. I like the fact that they have 4 returning defensive tackles who have played. But, those defensive ends, they've got to set the edge. And then you need the linebackers to actually wrap up and tackle. And I don't know that, that they really have a beast back there right now at linebacker. I mean, Keontra Smith, we've heard he's had a great camp. Manny Diaz is calling him K4 by his little nickname. So, obviously he's doing well if Manny's calling him K4 rather. But he's 5'11", 215 pounds, and he's not going to play the whole game. He can't. He's not going to be able to take that licking the whole game. So
Right.
you're going to see, the same guys we saw last year that got run over by North Carolina. You're going to see those guys out there. Bradley Jennings, Wayman Steed, Corey Flagg Jr. They're not fast linebackers. Avery Huff, Sam Brooks Jr. Those are supposed to be the fast linebackers. We've heard next to nothing about Avery Huff, and Sam Brooks Jr. has been hurt coming back from a toe injury. So you tell me, going into the opener, do you feel good about Miami's run defense based on everything I just told you?
No, unfortunately, my brother, I don't feel good about Miami, period, because of Manny Diaz is the reason why I don't feel good. And by the way, you would not only take the Alabama offensive line, everything about Alabama is better than Miami. The only advantage that Miami has is Coral Gables to Tuscaloosa. That's it. That's where the advantage ends. The beautiful city of Coral Gables, and nothing against Tuscaloosa, but just something tells me that Tuscaloosa isn't nearly as nice as Coral Gables. That's all I'm saying. I'm just going to go out on that limb and say Coral Gables is a nicer city than Tuscaloosa. That's where the advantages end. And
one thing you could say is that the employees at Alabama make more money than the employees down here. So,
by the way, that was a very depressing breakdown on your part.
I apologize. I didn't mean to shatter everybody's heart there, but I just bring a case of realism with me every time on your show.
I know, and I appreciate it. And what did you last say there? Because I was talking over you right now before.
No, I was just saying, I'm sure everybody in Alabama gets paid more than the guys down here in Miami. Yeah. So that's the difference.
Yes. Yeah. I would just love to compare the Alabama facility to the Miami Dolphins' new facility. And that would be the real challenge to see which one's better, because I would not be surprised if Alabama's still better than what Miami just built there in Miami Gardens. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's crazy stuff. All right, so I know you've been asked this before, but I know it's kind of an unfair question in a way to ask you, because you really aren't going to know. How close is D'Eriq King to 100% in your eyes? Because like you and I have been covering sports for a long time, and we know that most of these cats, whenever they get injured, they're really not the 100% till the second year as it is. I'm saying, look at Tua right now. Tua wasn't 100% last year playing with that hip. You look at him now, and he looks like a completely different person because he's 100%. So really, where is D'Eriq King from a surgery that's not even a year removed?
Yeah, that's a great question. No, I don't have the answer, other than to tell you that I know the guy has worked his ass off. I know that he's done everything asked of him to be ready. I know that he's looked like D'Eriq King in practice. But you don't know until you get hit. You don't know until you're out there in the game and you've got to make a decision. Hey, am I going to take off and run for my life here? Or am I just going to take the sack and fall? We will know if D'Eriq King is D'Eriq King on September 4th. And, the kid plays with a ton of heart. I know that he's going to go out there and he's not going to play scared, because that's just not who he is. But let's face it, you're only as good as your body, right? And at any point, his body can break down. And we know that people who have ACL injuries are more prone to have another ACL injury than the non-guy. So, it's something that's going to be in the back of everybody's head, and we won't know for real until September 4th. And I think, as far as everything else, as far as him being dedicated to get himself 100%, I can guarantee you he's done that. He's done everything asked of him and more to be ready for this moment, because he cares. He wants to win, and he wants to get drafted. He wants to show people, hey, I can do this against Alabama. Give me a shot to play quarterback, even though we all know it probably won't happen. So to me, the kid isn't the issue. It's his body, and we won't know that until September 4th.
Yeah, the other thing, because, I hear, oh, well, he ran 20 miles an hour straight or whatever, all this stuff.
Right.
But it's anybody that's come back from a knee, everybody tells you the straight stuff is not a problem. Eventually, you have a lot of confidence doing that. It's the cutting.
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge when you come back from a knee surgery, is that cut. Are you able to make those same kind of movements? And for a guy like him, he's going to need to be able to cut to try to dodge tacklers at times and things like that. So that's what I worry about with D'Eriq. And I wonder how much cutting he's been doing to obviously get the kind of confidence he needs to take on freaking Alabama, bro.
Well, he's done it. He's done it in practice. He did it the first day, and he talked about it. I have a story on theathletic.com about it. But essentially, he feels like himself. He doesn't feel scared to cut on the knee. And, again, like you said, straight line running, cutting, those are two entirely different things. And, we won't know until he's in the middle of the game when you're playing in a game speed how reliable that knee is. So, I think he's going to run less. I think if he's smart, he's going to run less. I think he's going to slide more. I think you're going to see him, run out of bounds. You're going to see him throw the ball away. He led the team in carries last year. Oh, I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, because it was one of those stats. Yeah, that unless you sit there and you look at it, you're like, wow, wait, Cam Harris, well, he had 4 more carries than Cam Harris. So I think he's going to cut down the number of times he takes off and runs. But again, what makes him what he is his speed and his talent. And he's going to have to show that to NFL teams if he's going to get drafted.
All right. We know that D'Eriq King is the most important factor for this team. He goes down, season over, you're done. What's the second most important factor for the Canes to have success this year behind D'Eriq King? Who is it? What group is it? What situation is it? I don't know. You point at it. Second most important thing that must stay on the field or must be a part of the team besides D'Eriq King.
Yeah, I think they're going to need their health on the defensive line because I think they are too deep, but it's sort of like a group of 8 players. And the moment you lose somebody, all of a sudden everybody else has to play a lot more and they're going to be exhausted and exposed. I think it's the health of the defensive line because that group collectively together, I think can be as good as what they got last year out of Jalen Phillips and Quincy Roche, but they have to be together. Individually, they don't cut it. Jafar Harvey, he's going to be a guy that everybody looks at and says, okay, he's the future, right? He's the guy who's supposed to be the next stud. He hasn't done a whole lot in camp as far as, hearing the coaches brag about him. So I think they're going to need DeAndre Johnson, Zach McLeod, and Chance Williams, those 4 defensive ends, to stay healthy all year and productive together because I don't think they have an elite pass rusher right now.
Crazy stuff. All right, one more thing before I let you go. I'm a big fan of the kid. He fell in the draft. I kind of compare him to Chris Jones from Kansas City. I think he's a big, immovable force that is going to put pressure on people. And while it means jack shit right now, okay, let's be honest, because it's only preseason, but Greg Rousseau has 2 sacks already. And, Phillips has already dealt with an injury, hasn't played as much. And I'm not saying Jalen Phillips is a bust or anything like that, but are you surprised with Greg Rousseau? Where were you with Greg Rousseau? Because this is a guy you covered. And for me, I was a big fan of his going to the next level because I think he's the kind of guy that becomes a disruptive mofo on the D-line, kind of like Jones. I think he can turn into a Chris Jones type. Your thoughts on Rousseau so far?
Yeah, I think they're both studs. Jalen, to me, was the risk factor, right? The injuries, the concussion history. He's the guy who I think
high risk, high reward is what you're saying.
High risk, high reward, right? But Rousseau, that length that he has, you can't teach that. That's just physical gift. And he is so good when you move him inside, beating slower, less athletic guards and centers to the quarterback. He just knows how to beat people inside. I think he's going to be a beast in the NFL. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler, multi-time guy. He's going to take over sort of Calais Campbell carrying the flag for Miami Hurricanes football. And the Bills, he's on a great team.
Do you see him like Chris Jones, like I do? The kid.
Yeah, I see a comparison. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, I think again, he's a 2, 3, 4-time Pro Bowler, a guy who is a consistent NFL starter who's productive year in and year out, and he's on a great team. The Bills are a great team. He's got a lot of help around them. I think he's going to have a chance to really shine in Buffalo.
Good stuff as always. What are you working on The Athletic, my brother, so Canes fans can check you out?
Yeah, well, I got another essay coming. The Athletic asked me to write an essay heading into college football, and I'm going to write about this little personal experience that I had with COVID here and parents taking their kids to school. I'm hoping fans do the right thing. Oh, and when they're sick, stay home. Don't go to the game because you're going to get a bunch of people around you sick.
Yeah, no, I know. But some of the folks that are anti-vaxxers and all that, they don't take it serious. And so they think, it's no big deal. You'll survive. I'll survive. Meanwhile, like there's body bags loaded up in every hospital out there, which is crazy. And even younger people are dying right now, man. The saddest part is watching all those stories of all the people that weren't believers, and then now they became believers. And I'm not talking about Justin Bieber believers. I'm talking about believers of the damn virus. And now they're going, oh my God, I wish I would have gotten the shot. I wish I would have gotten the shot for my husband, my daughter, my wife, whatever, because one of their family members is dying. And it's a real shame, man. It's just happening way too much right now. Manny, as always, my brother, thank you for taking some time. Enjoy the week, my friend. We will catch up on Friday.
Good talking to you. I'll see you then.
You got it. The great Manny Navarro.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.